I don't even know how to, like, it's just as uncomfortable as this fat suit that I wear as a human to, like, spiritually try to, like, um, it's March 28th, 2022. Now, I didn't watch the Oscars. I've never really watched here's what happens. It's the, oh, scars. Like, I mean, from a couch potato perspective of nobody really connects the way, I mean, those that know things connect. I mean, there's like a old Jesuit community somewhere. There's something about the modus operandi of the vitriol. Je ne sais pas, in les États-Unis. It's a unique principle of the optic scars on the landscape, and this peacock dance that they do for one another where they undress like Tropicana children, all their problems right on the big screen, and then they fight behind closed doors elsewhere at some succession. I don't know if one had such a powerful platform, why they would hand candidacy, not cannabis, but candidacy, or their platform, or make room or stage for others to join in this act, since this is it's one of the oldest forms of courtship, but not courtship in it's airing one's royal laundry or laundered to set precedents for the new societal laws that the people are to follow in quiet old heraldry elsewhere. But the modernity that's been added to cinematography to make these movies more powerful and give rise to more powerful motives and motions and movements, while others may not connect or know what vitriol is, which is like almost like an acid, like it's not a pleasant, nice thing. Although the movies are, I mean, they put on their A-listers, they put on their gowns. Now, last night I found it interesting. I walked briefly in Lynn's room while she was watching in the living room. I saw old Hollywood for me, which was Kevin Costner, with sunglasses on, one familial face. Curious to know what he thinks of the revolting evolution of this vitriol, and if he is even aware of the backroom conversation. I don't know. I don't have anybody to conversate with, so I don't really watch it or partake in the process. But there is this new presence. Last night they said that Coda, being sign language, won best picture, and then Dune, Dune, which I actually just watched yesterday, won the most statues, which is interesting because their Furman and their Siege, I am unclear of how they've laid forth that plan and expenditure for the forward-moving diction to move it from a fiction into diction into motion. And then there was this scene with Chris Rock, which in Dune, Chris is the spiritual inhabitants of the one. I mean, the oldest spiritual one is what it has ties into some other scripture, which I know is like a cult and is very sacred to some in Hollywood. It ties into their lifestyle. So I found it interesting that they would use Chris Rock as a mouthpiece to incite J-Da, which is, again, the J figure. It's very important in some esoteric communities. I just don't know which ones. And Da in Russia or in Slovenia is yes. So, and then she had, Linda keeps saying she has alopecia, but she shaved her head. And Chris Rock made a reference to G.I. Jane, which is a G.I.U., which is disrespect on a whole nother platform. And then there's the Will Smythe, but he pronounces it Smith, but it's I will smite thee with thine free will. And he went up and he knocked him in the jaw, to which Chris Rock withheld. I mean, it didn't become an all-out brawl-out like MMA fight. It was held within whatever, I guess a showcase standard, because it was not to incite more violence. It was to show that gentleman's score, I suppose, of sorts. I'm not quite sure what they meant by it. Just from a couch potato perspective, being connected in a little something more from When the World Stands Still, and just in observance of it all transforming before me. But then there's Beyonce, who was in a Compton neighborhood but put up walls, and they were painted peridot, which is the gemstone for the August birth. I don't know why she would take on the effigy of Augusta. You all are not Roman, nor are you Greek. So it gets a little confusing at stolen identity and stolen religious icons and mythology in identity thievery that's been taking place for longer than a centaur would like to put a label on. So, and then there was some artist I'd never even heard of, half-dressed, and she was doing some Tropicana whatever. Oh, so that was interesting. And now I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, so Kevin Costner with your white dances with wolves in a teepee tent in the desert. I'm just with a white woman who's tribal, with trying to communicate with your more, your soldier self, who's more, let's call it civilized, to her more nativeness. I'm just curious if the Oscars felt like the old world Vitriol that you were used to behind closed doors, because it seemed like this was an old vitriol argument, but only amongst some other group that hasn't really taken heed to the breed and creed for which the original texts were written upon in star woven for even tertiary purpose beyond the vitriol that's been the ongoing fight behind closed doors. Somewhere between an accord and requiem with the inquisitive, I'm sure they can piece together my brutish way of trying to explain something that I don't even have a full grasp on. I can just see the players in a different context than the average couch potato who just, like Linda, who's just like, why? She's like, it just didn't sit right with her, but she doesn't know why. Because again, there's a difference between the awoke and then the wake and the trail that is going on at the moment with handling other people's portfolio of fights in some glamorous way. I don't feel glamorous having, like, been exposed to it. Half the time don't even know what it means. All I know is that I'm still in a neglected and abused position in New York within the corridor of United States of America. And there is a Mount Rushmore community somewhere, who knows, far superior to whatever I'm enlightened with at the moment. So this is what it looked like.
Just a little teeny tiny reminder that the purpose of the Oscars is to celebrate movies, and it was almost nearly overshadowed last night by Will Smith, as you've seen, slap across Chris Rock's face on the Oscar stage. I still can't get over this. Every time I see the video, it is shocking. That's why I'm wearing black today. But that did not dim the joy of the evening for the winners. Coda took home all...
And there's the copyright or
all three awards.
Whatever that
it was
is.
nominated for, including Best Picture. Yay. They were just a few of the many historic victories on a night that also included exuberant musical performances. This was knockout. Kevin Frazier joins us again from the...
Again, it looks like a show all about everybody else. And it's like Kevin Costner and his native woman inside the tent at Dances with Wolves is completely unbeknownst. It's like they're not even known.
The ET set. Kevin, good morning. I would imagine a lot of the winners are going, hey, don't forget about me. I got an Oscar.
100%.
Good night.
Yeah, because, Gail, it felt like old times at the Oscars.
Old times at the Oscars? For who? I mean, like, I'm not all glitz and glam myself, but, like, back in the day, there was, like, Michelle Pfeiffer and Bruce Willis, Kevin Costner. Like, there were, like, big names that, again, they knew their own stuff, but I don't see any of that level of academy or studio as an understudy of I don't even really study this stuff. I mean, was it an oversight? It gets confusing how to speak human in this broad spectrum of what have they done?
But with a little twist, with strict COVID protocols in place, the show was back in its Hollywood home, and everyone seemed to be in the mood to celebrate. With his win as Best Supporting Actor in Coda, Troy Kotsur became the second deaf person and the first deaf man to take home an acting Oscar.
Everyone has stories to tell. We have such a rich history in the deaf community and the disabled community.
And for me, it's being deaf about the background music. I'm not in that back room. I have not been in that back meeting. I haven't been in succession. They've been doing all of these meetings and moving and huge movements that have impacted my health, welfare, and ability to, like, have a family, have a proper marriage, to have, I mean, where is member services? I was thinking to myself this morning, I'm an 8. He's a 7. Where's member services in this? I just needed one person from member services. I couldn't even get that because there's so much other noise in the music and the movie and Vitriol.
Also making history, Ariana DeBose, winning Best Supporting Actress for her performance in West Side Story. She joins a short list of
This is disgusting. This was old Vitriol. Already did it, done it. Why are you redoing it? Who cares?
Latinas to win an acting award. The first being Rita Moreno playing the same role 50 years ago.
I'm Afro-Latina. I'm an openly queer woman of color, and I think that just proves that there's space.
It proves nothing. It just proves that you fit, or the check box is on someone else's list for things they had to accomplish in the next set of arguments behind closed doors. That's all it means. Don't make yourself feel more special than you really are. I mean, it's ridiculous.
There's space for us.
But there was a moment that overshadowed the winners when Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. Actor Will Smith rose to defend his wife, who suffers from alopecia, a disorder that results in hair loss.
Oh, wow! Wow! Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me. Nick my name out your mouth. Wow, dude. Yeah. It was a G.I. Jane joke. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. I'm going to, okay? That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
Smith went on to win Best Actor for his role in King Richard. He used his acceptance speech to apologize and explain his strong reaction.
In this business, you got to be able to have people disrespecting you. And you got to smile and you got to pretend like that's okay. I want to be a vessel for love. But love will make you do crazy things.
With everyone in the audience and on stage adhering to strict COVID protocols, the Oscars brought back some big musical numbers, including a surprise appearance by Megan Thee Stallion.
You can add it to my show, Academy Award.
And Beyonce performed her Oscar-nominated song, Be Alive, from the Compton neighborhood where the film King Richard was set.
See how she put up all those walls? And she's wearing peridot, which is happens to be my birthstone.
It feels so good to be alive.
Another returning tradition, the Oscars brought back a host. 3 of them, in fact, Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall.
This year, the Academy hired 3 women to host because it's cheaper than hiring one man.
But women continue to be a powerful force in Hollywood. For the second year in a row, a woman won Best Director, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog. The year's Best Actress award went to Jessica Chastain, playing the title role in The Eyes of Tammy Faye, a story she worked for years to bring to the big screen.
It means so much to me in terms of my profession, but also in terms of my life and what I'm putting out into the world.
You know, the Academy did acknowledge the war in Ukraine with a moment of silence, inviting viewers to support the country in any way they can. It should be noted that the blockbuster Dune won more Oscars than any other film, a total of 6, cleaning up in the technical awards categories as well as Best Score, Gail.
Yeah, there was a lot to celebrate. Let's not forget that it was great to see Beyonce. But I want to go back to Will and Chris for just a second. I saw Tyler Perry and Denzel Washington talking to him after that moment. What is the feeling in L.A. this morning about what happened last night?
People are still in shock and divided. And I mean, I think that everything is is fluid because people are waking up, they're seeing, that Will did go out, he did party, that he celebrated his Oscar moment, but people were in shock because it felt unbelievable. It's the Oscars that that kind of thing doesn't happen at the Oscars.
Yeah, that's why we don't know what to do, because we've never seen anything like that.
Ever.
All right, Kevin Frazier. Listen, I'll be watching E.T. tonight, as I always do.
So
As I always
Always
do.
appreciate y'all.
Yeah, E.T., by the way, was a different alien, but now it is hosted by this gentleman. Complete, identity theft. It is the only thing I can say. It's the only words in a pattern. It's like the entire landscape of what was in the prior man of the hour has been completely shifted in some drift of video and audio academy into some other painted portrait that is nothing like what it was when in North America. I can't speak for other places, but certainly in New York, which is held and housed in an envelope of North America. I mean, it is like a whole nother animal at this point. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies, broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.